Good afternoon, Chuck Karstensen, a quick midday short version of our podcast. I haven't done many of these recently, and I wasn't super prepared to do it. I did comb my hair, obviously. I'm sporting our Northwestern University and Northwestern football team that my son Chase plays for that made the playoffs this year, ended up losing to St. John's. But I wanted to go on and do a quick podcast tip that from time to time I have done on this. And then we do our longer Minnesota real estate show. So please check out any of our past recordings. The one I point back to is going all the way back to August 1st. Look at my real estate predictions from then all the way out to now and into next year that seem to be holding up pretty well. So if you're tuning in for the first time on my Facebook Live or on my YouTube or on the recording, thank you for doing that. And definitely check out the Real Life Impact podcast. Otherwise, I'm going to get right in the content. I want to make this like a 5-minute shorter version video. And I titled it Doing What Works, Real Estate 101, like basic tip. I get it. The importance of pricing. Obviously, you may have heard this before. Importance of pricing, but I first want to mention doing what works. A lot of people, just in general, in their life, could be in their health, in their business, in whatever, relationships, spiritual life, they try to do all these things that might work. And then a lot of times, how I've built my business is listening to all the things people do that don't really work. Now, they could work. It might work for one person, but really, I get feedbacks on, it doesn't seem like what they're doing is working. So I'm going to just do what's. So when a lot of people are doing what's not working, would you want to follow them and just do what doesn't work? No, you would not. You'd be like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do what doesn't work. I'm going to do what works. That's why I titled it Doing What Works. Yet, and I wouldn't doubt in the next several months, if you don't hear this, or even a few people that do hear this, will still want to do what doesn't work. That's silly, right? You laugh or ridicule or mock or be like, oh, that poor person who's not doing doing what doesn't work. You'd be like, why are they doing that? But yet, sometimes in life, we choose to do what doesn't work. I want you to do what does work. That's why this is a basic tip, and we're talking about it. Whether it was the hot sellers market from middle of 2020 to around middle of 2022, pricing, very, very important. And right now, as the market transitions, settles, softens, whatever you want to call it, pricing very, very important. Now, historically, people who don't do a lot of real estate business or people think they're wheeler dealer types or whatever, they think they are like very salesman-y, like we're going to price it to get some room to negotiate. Yeah, that was before the internet when people didn't have all access to the information. Or that might even been in 2005 when some of the people didn't really check the internet. Now, almost everybody's on the internet. My dad's on a smartphone. Now, dad might want to do a wheeler dealer price. No, you shouldn't do the wheeler dealer price, meaning like, let's price it for some negotiation. I don't like that idea. I think it's bad advice. Every once in a while, I test it for whatever reason. Like, here, let's use some bad advice and price it too high. Doesn't ever work. It does not ever work in a seller's market, in a transitioning market. Certainly years ago, it didn't work in a down market. If you priced it up, that didn't work. So why would you do what doesn't work? You want to do what works. That's with anything. Very simple. I know you have you there. I know you pay attention and want to do what works and not do what doesn't work. So the very much importance of pricing is this. In that hot sellers market, when it was super duper hot and things were going well, and people were listing their home and selling and getting multiple offers for sellers, what homes didn't sell? The ones that were priced too high. What homes sold for more than we thought they'd sell for? The ones that were priced pretty aggressively, that instead of getting bid up 10,000 or 20,000, got bid up 30 or 40,000 because they were slightly more aggressive. So the aggressive price, like, what would have seemed like, well, that might be lower than I might get price, worked. It worked. And rarely did it not work pretty well. And there's some people that push the price and they still got their price, but might actually got more if they went with that aggressive price. That time frame is almost gone. I'm not saying nobody gets multiple offers, but the ones that do, guess what they're doing? They're pricing aggressively, saying, here, I'm good with this price. And if I get more, great. And that's where the buyers who are hesitant become not hesitant. They go for that house, and that house gets action, and that house sells. So then the argument in a transitioning market from sellers is, well, my neighbor 6 months ago, 3 months ago closed and got that price. Why are you suggesting this price? Well, the importance of pricing. Real estate 101, doing what works. The market, if you listen to August 1st video that I pointed out, or the recording that I pointed out that's on the Real Life Impact podcast, or just message me. And you can always comment below if you have a question if you're watching this live, but I just put this out there. So it's not like people knew it was coming out there. The question is, what happens? Well, here's what happens. Here's what 100% or 99% of the time happens. You go here, or here's your neighbor sold for here. We're telling you here, but you're like, I want to go here. They got here. You go here, barely anybody looks. You drop the price again. We have people who have done this just recently or doing it now. Drop the price again. Wait, you're like, that's lower than the price you told me. Yep, that's what happens. So we said here. You're like, I want to go here. Drop the price. Okay, now we're here. Nope, that didn't work. Too late. You've been on the market too long. What's wrong with the house? And now you're dropping again and getting less. So you don't want to be off the screen on your in pricing, right? That would be silly. That's doing what doesn't work. You'd want to at least do what works because you're a smart person. You would go here. But you'd be like, my neighbor got this much. That was 6 months ago. And 6 months ago in 2022 is like 6 years ago. It just is what it is. It is what it is. So pricing is important. In that aggressive seller's market, it was important to be here and you would get this. Now your neighbor got this and we're saying this. Guess what? You go up here, you get this. You go here, probably do fine. You get that. So I did. Now, if you're listening to recording, just so you know, if you're just listening to recording on my podcast, I was doing hand signals, meaning I had one really high for the old price or really high for the bid up price in the old market. And a couple people watching it live are seeing this. And then I lowered the price to like, here's where you got to go now. So it was head high on the old price, the high price, the bid up price, and now chin high on the current price, the suggested market price. And when I had the hand up where, well, I want to go up my neighbor's old price. Then I dropped it to eye high, dropped it to mouth high, dropped it off the screen below my chin, meaning you got way less. But if you just go where my chin is, if you imagine me holding on my hands, two different hands on this pricing, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. That's the importance of pricing. It's doing what works, unless you're somebody who likes to do what doesn't work. And a lot of people like to do what doesn't work, which is silly. When I catch myself doing what doesn't work, I'm like, well, that's dumb. Why would I do that? Why don't I just do what works? So, quick tip for the day, do what works. When it comes to real estate 101, probably the top biggest tip is pricing. Yes, I know we got somebody out there that's a for sale by owner, then if we price it low, we don't need you. No, you need the exposure. That's how you get more. And that little bit of fees you pay actually comes back. If you just do it on your own, like I do talk to for sale by owners, their price also drops from chin to off the screen and you lose money. Very simple. Do what works, not what doesn't work. And that's the importance of pricing. You might want to watch the video, but I gave you the best explanation if you didn't watch the video. The video's on our Facebook page, Carstensen Team Remax, on Chuck Carstensen YouTube channel. And then the recordings on Real Life Impact Podcast. Have a wonderful day. Reach out with any real estate questions or needs, and make sure you do what works. Just in general, anything, do what works, not what doesn't work. Take care.